Ooh, ooh. Bingo! Bingo! I got bingo! Bingo!
You did not. Give me that.
Let's see what we got. Let's see. All right, so let's see. Sorcery, yeah, Dream Book, okay. Something Star Wars, it's unlimited. Jerry tries like 8 times to end his channel.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah.
It's Asmodee, Nostalgics. Rudy says fuck it all. Let's see. Pow Interactive, Fab. It's Avril Lavigne. Some stupid waifu game, Grand Archive. Genesis Revival goes well.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely wasn't on my bingo card.
Editing Joe, before we begin, there's not really a lot of ranting here. There's not a lot of negativity to really share. This is kind of a really cool story, especially for something that was such a dark part of my personal history. I set a lower bar for the thing that this thing cleared. So I know, especially after like yesterday, I'm fully expecting a couple of my special friends out there to just be like, "Oh, this whole thing was just so you could talk up Genesis." No, not in the slightest. But we are going to talk up Genesis a little bit because I want to close the chapter on it. And I really wasn't expecting to, and this is just kind of a cool story. So let's talk about it. But yeah, this is a lot more. There's a lot more love here than there is hate. But this is just because it's something I followed, something I paid attention to, and it's actually pretty damn cool. The end. That's really what it is. There's not really a motive here, but I figured I'd warn you up front. However, if you do want to check it out on your own, genesisboc.com, and then hello at Edge of Exile. Oh God, hello at edgeofexile.com, or where you can also learn more, so you can kind of discover this on your own. But yeah, that's what I got. Cheers. Yesterday, I closed the chapter on Flesh and Blood. Tomorrow, I'm going to close the chapter on the Temper Tantrum era and my feelings toward the TCG industry. But today, I'm going to close the chapter on Genesis Battle of Champions. And I'm not going to lie, I was not expecting to have anything to close here. Did an entire feature-length film talking about the downfall of Haunted Castle Gaming, and that spawned a whole lot of just interesting conversations with people. But new owners who are really passionate, North of Exile Games, which is a local game store up in Canada, started Edge of Exile Entertainment and bought the rights to Genesis, and more importantly, bought the rights to continue the game, which also gave them the Invasion set, which is what we were stuck on. Like, that's the one that we had done that we were trying to build up the funds to get. And at the time that we'd left, we had TCG Player going, and we were really hoping that was going to get us into distro. We had about 36 stores in North America that were kind of going. We were in a pretty decent place, not like the best of places, but then we learned about some like past debts that were dragging the company under, and we suddenly didn't really know what we were putting all the effort for, so that kind of led to its downfall. But here we are with new owners. And I've seen revival efforts before. Ardent Saga is currently trying to go through it. Netrunner LCG is going through it with Null Signal Games, so I don't really know what their end game is here. But there are a couple games that are trying to come back. But never have I actually seen one that has had entirely new ownership, come back, and jump out of the gate kind of better than we did. And I thought we were in a pretty decent place. So let's put 10 on the clock and talk about what the hell has happened to Genesis Battle of Champions. Now, before we jump in, I'm going to say this as a surprising, like, oh my gosh, this is an awesome story. This is a feel-good kind of comeback story, but this does not mean it's a next big thing. This doesn't mean that it's going to start just flooding into everything. They have a long journey ahead of it, and it is a very steep road in order to get to anything kind of close to mainstream. But you gotta appreciate that for a company that went under, especially how it did, and especially given that I was not the only one that very publicly put him on blast. I probably put the most on blast. It would make sense that everything would back the hell away from this. Nope. That's not a thing that happened. So let's talk about where they're at. Raw numbers here. For starters, Genesis is in Southern Hobby. They're in Southern Hobby distro. Originally, they were consignment through Fun Again, and that was a whole mess, especially when they shut down. But now they have proper distro. It was something I was really trying to get into. I could not get a meeting with them for the life of me. But Jason and the team, being an LGS owner, had a really good line into things like Southern Hobby. So yeah, they're in Southern Hobby. They are able to take orders. Well, here's the thing. They can't take orders. They're waiting on a second shipment of a 2,000 box first edition print run. I still don't quite understand why there's a first edition here, but of a 2,000 box first edition print run of the Invasion set that they redesigned, retemplated, packaged, new booster box, booster packs, starter decks, all those things. They rebuilt kind of the product from the ground up. 2,000 boxes. They need the second shipment because the first one sold out. Sold out proper, and it's not sold out to like one guy. They sold out. There's nearly like 50 there's 50 shops in North America. Their store locator has been updated, which was another one of those things we were bad at. But the store locator has been updated, and it's not fucking around. Especially if you're in the East Coast, kind of that Rust Belt and New England area. There's a surprising number of shops, including some that I expected to just say absolutely not. No freaking way. Not interested. So shout out to Pink Elephant in Kansas, because they were the last guys to get in just before everything went under, and they went in pretty well. It was like, oh, I feel bad that you just kind of died. But they're back in, and there's a lot of stores that are back, or there's a lot of stores that are back in, and there's a lot of new ones that are in. One of the reasons, and this is something that I have been throughout the entirety of this channel, I have been preaching. And I have no better word for it, preaching the importance of respecting the rules of business and having a business mindset, and understanding that you are starting a business, not a game. No hype train is going to get you past the pitfalls of being a damn company. And that is something that Edge of Exile has taken to heart. And not only have they taken it to heart, it has shown results. Getting into Southern Hobby was practically Southern Hobby asking, where do I sign? Because they came in with numbers. They came in with financials and details and logistics. They had so many things in that they just wowed the living crap out of Southern Hobby. And here we are, 2,000 boxes later. I don't think all 2,000 have sold, but 2,000 boxes in a print run. The first amount that have come in are sold out, and they need to wait on the rest of that run, as more stores are clamoring for it. And this doesn't even consider that Europe has jumped in. They want back in, and that's good because they have the World Championship. They took the last World, so it'd be nice to have them back so US can claim it. I don't think US has never claimed it. They've never claimed it. But whatever, North America. But Europe wants to jump back into that, and they are actually growing, and it's getting in people's hands, and this is phenomenal. This is not something I expected to happen, especially when you have things like Lorcana. You have things like Magic. You have things like Flesh and Blood. You have all these things that are taking away from kind of the pocketbooks and the buying power of LGSs. And here comes this little up-and-comer thingy thing that died earlier in the year, saying, hey, by the way, we've got kind of a good plan here. And stores are actually jumping in and said, all right, let's give it a shot. And that's where they're at. It's let's give it a shot. I have no clue where this is going to go. And like I said, they have a steep road ahead of them for sure. I have no clue where it's going to go, but that's cool. That's amazing. And I think even more amazing and more important, especially to me, because naturally one of the big issues that we had were costs and the fact that people didn't get paid. A lot of people didn't get paid. Genesis Invasion so far has sold enough to pay for their manufacturing costs. They have sold enough to pay their staff. They have sold enough to pay their artists. They are on budget and on pace to achieve all of their early goals, and they still have more coming in. They still have more people who are like chomping at the bit for this thing. Again, not like holy crap. There's enough sales. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Now you're probably saying as well, if this is so successful, then why the hell are we not seeing content creators talking about this? Why in the world is this not like, why is Rudy not talking about it? Or why is nobody talking about this thing? It's because they intentionally kept it down low. They wanted to work on that foundation level that told LGSs, we are more focused on you than we're focused on the internet discovering this thing. And here's what we have in place. And I'm not entirely sure everything that they might have in place, but again, they sold LGSs on this. And honestly, I kind of want to get my hands on some. But they sold some on it. So I'm hoping that next year they do lean into some of the content creators who were fans in the past. There were a lot of fans of this game in the past. Naturally, it was never worth a lot of content. Like, it was never really worth a lot of views because this is kind of a niche thing. But I'm hoping to see a little bit of an uptick. And I kind of hope that this little kind of comeback story goes a lot further. Because I have no problem saying, even now, Genesis Battle of Champions is one of the best games on the market. That is not the best products. Don't confuse that. Don't be like, oh, we're after Flash and Rudy yesterday and doing that whole thing. This isn't me like, I'm not saying, oh, financial, get yourself in on it. I'm talking it as a functional game, a game to play, a game to build decks around, a game to kind of like I was talking about yesterday, to fuck around and find out. There is a deck of just chickens. It's just one card. There's 50 of them, and it's hilarious. And it's people are inspired to do that. It is one of the most fun games to play, hands down, freaking period. And somebody who loves the strategy and the tactical and the chess thing, I'm all in it. It is worth looking out, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Additionally, to add on, and again, I'm hoping that creators take a look and kind of give this thing a chance. I would love to see this thing succeed. I did not expect it to get this far. I expected to die in a fire. I really did. Especially after the way that it came out. Like the release of the announcement of this thing was awful. I'm sorry. There is no forgiving how bad that was, of like these weird little teasers. But the problem is that there was like another game online, so that we didn't know which one of the two groups of people who were a part of this were like giving these little hints that something new was coming out. And there were a bunch of us on staff who were just pissed that a whole bunch of artists couldn't have their artwork show. So we're like, all right, we're going to start releasing things. So we kind of forced their hand, but it was still bad. So there's that. I still don't particularly like the graphic design. I'm not going to lie. I think the cards look like Montessori students' first TCG. It's beige. Like the template is all beige, with a little hint of color here and there. I wish that was infinitely better. The artwork is spectacular. And I've heard from Dahlia, who made my coaxing playmats. I was so excited to bring her into that project, but she's been able to do some of the artwork, and she's gotten kind of free reign to go even further with her abilities. I cannot wait for the future of this, which my understanding is a set called Metamorphosis, which is coming out Q2 next year, basically. So holy crap, like that's exciting stuff. I'd love to see it. Please don't go racing to buy every single box of this stuff. Like, it's probably not a thing that's going to happen, but I'm excited to watch the journey. The other thing that's really important to understand, or that's also new, is that the card quality is getting kind of rave reviews from a core community that I also expected to just run the hell away, especially after what happened. But props to having people like Will K, who was such a wonderful force for the original Genesis, but got no respect for it at all. It's great to see him as part of the design team. I think that Invasion was a brilliant set. Oh my god. This is why I want to get my hands on it. But it's great to see him moving forward. But the core community that, again, should have left has been talking about the card quality is fantastic. The product quality is great. The foiling is beautiful. As they finally switched over to spot foiling. So like, it's all the things that that Genesis Haunted Castle games probably should have done ages ago at the very beginning. Now we're starting to see it come through fruition in this just wild Phoenix story. So that's kind of, I wanted to share that because it is surprising and amazing, and I wish great things for them in 2024. I'll be on the lookout. I hope you are too. Good job, Edge of Exile and Genesis.